Well, howdy there, folks. Welcome back to Stewie MTG. I'm back now with my mono blue addition to the 32 deck challenge with Urza. Hi, Lord Articifer. Mainly using, if you guys don't know his ability, using his ability not only to create that construct token that gets +1/+1 for each artifact under control, but also using his other activated ability of artifacts can tap for a blue. So let's actually start off with the ramp package, both in discount and in mana production. We've got Mox Amber, Mox Tantalite, Mox Diamond, Everflowing Chalice, Mox Opal, and to round out the casting cost on these is a Soul Ring. We got some cost reducers with Foundry Inspector, Helm of Awakening, Ethereum Sculptor, and lastly Jorah's Familiar. So between ramp and reduction, our artifacts are going to cost a lot less. And the fact that we can tap these artifacts to create more mana. With that, and speaking of creating mana and card draw, we're going to be creating a lot of tokens. And the best way I know how to draw cards with tokens is Skull Clamp. Going to be creating a lot of 1/1 servos, a lot of 1/1 thopters, and if I need cards, I will get them. With that, we move on to some of our regular artifacts, not artifact creatures, but just artifacts, keeping low mana cost to be able to produce a lot of artifacts that we can tap for blue. We've got Zern Ord, Dark Sphere, Welding Jar, Claws of Gix. Next, in the 1 mana cost, we've got Manifold Key, Sensei's Divining Top, Voltaic Key, Scroll Rack, Golem's Heart to gain a little extra life and tap for mana. Hey, Genesis Chamber to help create some more tokens, Heartstone to reduce activated abilities of not only our commander but of other, especially some of the legendary creatures that we'll see later. Unwinding Clock, Mystic Forge, Paradox Engine, and lastly, Blinkmoth Urn. We'll look at some of the artifact creatures we have in here. We've got, in the 0 mana cost, we've got Phyrexian Walker, Numb Knight, Ornithopter, Ornithopter of Paradise, Workshop Assistant, and what's a deck of Urza without something of his brothers, right? Here's Mishra's Worker. With that, we move to some of our artifact creatures that are like the token that Urza creates. They get bigger the more artifacts we have. So we're going to have a lot of big beaters roaming around. One of them being Master of Ethereum. And I don't know that you guys can tell, but that's actually foil. We've got the new Filigree Attendant for Modern Horizons 2. Shambling Suit. And Darksteel Juggernaut. You get a couple of those out with as many tokens and low-cost artifacts that are coming out. I've played games where those are easily 10/10s. With that, let's move to some of our Planeswalkers. First up, they call them Karnstructs for a reason, including Karn in here to help get another one of those tokens. Tezzeret for mainly the untapping ability, and the other Tezzeret to make some tokens to use. In talking about tokens, that's why I've included Sharding Sphinx. Who doesn't like tokens from combat damage? I do. and Psi Master Thopterus to also create some more tokens. Let's dive into the rest of our non-artifact creatures, many of them legendary. Let us look at the Dalkin Archmage to help us draw some more cards. Muzio to filter through the top of our deck. Padim to give hexproof. Arkham Dagson as a repeatable tutor for artifacts. Speaking of tutors, we have the obligatory trio of Trinket Mage, Trophy Mage, and Treasure Mage to help get us some of those artifacts, as well as the sorcery version of that tutor in Fabricate. And in talking about, shall we say, a pod type ability, we have that in Master Transmuter. But in going through all of these cards, the one thing that I found out early on, I run through my deck pretty quick. Not only from sacrificing, but also board wipes and artifact destruction. There's been more than one time that I've been the subject of a Vandal Blast. So I have edited the deck over time to include Commit to Memory and a oldie but a golden card in Drafna's Restoration and bringing back some of those artifacts from the graveyard. Feldman's Cane, I actually need to get a black bordered version of that, and Reminisce. Let's move on to the enchantments that really help us not only create tokens, but to be able to speed things up, including a training ground to help reduce some of those activated abilities. Mirrodin Besiege to get a 2-for-1 on all of my artifacts. Play an artifact. Oh, I played a Mana Rock. Oh, I get a 1/1 Thopter. Oh, thank you much. We've got mechanized production to help make copies. Another 2-for-1 in efficient construction, and both card selection and scrying ability with Future Sight. Moving on to our removal and counterspell package, there's not a lot. Not like most decks I've seen, especially on Archidect, but we have some. We got Rapid Hybridization, take care of those pesky permanents. Bitter Squall as a great opportunity to bounce. We got our regular counterspell package starting with Counterspell, Archmage's Charm. We also have Mystic Confluence and Spell Swindle. And our last instant in sorcery, who doesn't like having a whole lot of either copying one of our big beaters or copying one of our token producers, or even just copying some Thopters to beat face. And Rider Replication does that well, I think. Now onto our non-basic lands. We have the obligatory Urza's Trio, Urza's Mine, Urza's Tower, and Urza's Power Plant. Actually looking to get some black bordered original versions of those. We have some Mana Search with Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse. We've got an artifact land to get that artifact count up with Seed of the Synod. Academy Ruins to get them out of my graveyard, as well as Buried Ruin. Inventor's Fair is a great tutor, as well as using the Transmute off of Teleria West. Halimar Depths for some more card selection. Reliquary Tower, because you do end up drawing quite a bit of cards in this deck. Blasted Landscape, mainly for the cycling, but hey, if you need another colorless mana, go for it. And flavor include Urza's Factory. Last couple, basic land cycling, Ash Barrens, and surprise, surprise, especially to Brian over at Cure for the Common Game, Rogue's Passage. With that, this has been Urza, Lord Artificer. No, I didn't include many of the normal combo pieces that are included with Urza. I wanted this to be more of a 6 or a 7 on the power scale, and to just be able to compete and have fun with my other decks, sitting at the kitchen table with friends or family. With that, stay tuned, as up next we have Raynar, the Ever Watchful, and a fun Blinky deck. With that, we will catch you later on Stewie MTG. Later.